With the holidays right around the corner, it's time for me to start planning all the festive meals and treats for the season. Frozen Washington red raspberries are the ultimate holiday shortcut to flavor, as they are picked at peak ripeness and frozen within hours to lock in their bright, sweet tart taste. I love raspberries in my desserts, and boy does this cran raspberry pecan tart sound delicious. Grown by passionate farmers in Washington state, they're frozen with care to ensure top quality and food safety, and it always feels good to support local American farmers. And here's the best part. They're always in season. When you buy American-grown frozen raspberries, you're getting fresh off the field flavor all year long. You can find them at Costco, Kroger, Meijer, and Winco Foods. Make sure to look for product in the U.S. on the bag. Check out True Fruit Mars Hyper Chilled Chocolate-Covered Raspberries and Smucker's Raspberry Jam. Want to learn more details on where to find American frozen red raspberries plus recipe ideas and cooking tips? Head to redraz.org. That's redrazz.org. You'll find participating retailers as an inspiration for every meal, plus info on how these berries go from farm to freezer with quality you can taste.
Many of you have heard us talk about Hormone Harmony by Happy Mammoth, the supplement that helps women maintain optimal hormone levels, with over 50,000 glowing reviews from women worldwide and 98% saying they recommend it to friends and family. Now you can take those results even further by pairing it with their prebiotic collagen protein, which helps restore gut lining integrity, promoting overall hormone levels. Now, I've struggled with occasional digestive issues, and since taking the prebiotic collagen protein, I've noticed a real lift in my energy and overall well-being. Happy Mammoth is dedicated to making women's lives easier. And that means using only science-backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. They make no compromise when it comes to quality, and it shows. Right now, you can try prebiotic collagen protein and Hormone Harmony risk-free and get 15% off your entire first order with the code DATEABLE at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code DATEABLE for 15% off today. Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Krafchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, friends.
Welcome back to another episode of Dateable.
How ready are we for the holiday season?
I can't believe it's already the holiday season. It's already mid-November. It's crazy.
Before Halloween, my friend Emily asked me to go to Color Me Mine to make ornaments. And I was like, oh, can we get through Halloween first? And so now that we're done with Halloween, she's like, are you ready? Like, I guess.
Wait, Color Me Mine. I always think of the Sex and the City episode where they like make fun of Charlotte for like quitting her job when she's talking about like what she's going to do with her time. And they're like, please don't be that person that we walk by and see in Color Me Mine painting pottery. I didn't know that actually existed.
I'm going to send that. I'm going to send that clip to Emily. No, they exist. It's a franchise. There's one right down the street from me. It's a walk-in. You can like paint plates. You can make plates. You can make ornaments.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I love stuff like that. I've never been to that specific one, but there's like more non-chain ones near me that I've been to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'll be there. If I see you, you're going to be making ornaments with me and Emily because apparently 'tis the season.
I mean, okay, we're not at Thanksgiving yet, but I guess it all starts to like come quickly. And I was just thinking about this because I actually really love this season. Like there's just always so many things to do. And I feel like when I was single, especially, I like love this season because there's just so many parties. Remember all like the galas we used to go to?
Yes.
And there's like, I mean, at least in San Francisco, I'm sure other cities have things like this, but we have like this crab feed every year that I go to that it's like a big communal dinner and then everyone like has like a dance party smelling like crab after. And it's one of my favorite activities. So it's crazy though, because like I'm going back to the East Coast for Thanksgiving. I decided to do that. And then we get back and we're trying to like beat the like holiday rush traffic a little. So we get back and then it's like the crab feed. I'm like, wait, how is it already that? And then we're going to like leave for Christmas.
It's all happening so fast. My friend posted this story on his Instagram and he's like, trigger warning. This may not be for everyone. And then his next picture was his entire house is decked out in Christmas lights already. He's like, I know this is triggering for some people. I'm like, wow, it is not even Thanksgiving, but his entire house, like external, internal, he is already done with Christmas decorations, which is so wild to me.
We were like, does it even make sense to get a tree this year? Like, I love doing it. I love decorating it, but we're going to be here for like 2 weeks, if even.
Yeah. Are you worried about travels with the government shutdown?
A little, yeah. We'll see what happens.
I'm a little worried. Yeah. Is anybody working? Are flights taking off? That is so scary.
You're going to stay local, though, for Thanksgiving, right?
Yes. We're local for Thanksgiving. We're going to his family's for a little bit for a week in December in Florida. And we're already freaking out if that's even happening or not. I don't know.
I know. We'll see. I feel like it might blow over soon, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just speculating at this point. I clearly don't know. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, it is nuts though. Like, to your point about like the decorations, like I feel like I saw all these people that had like the decked out houses for Halloween.
Yeah.
And then the next day it was like all taken down and like the lights are starting to go up.
That's the when people go all out for Halloween, I don't understand that. Because like for Christmas or for like the December period, you have a whole month and then maybe January to keep it up. But Halloween is really like a week that people have the decorations up for.
I feel like Halloween used to be my favorite holiday for like years. Like I loved Halloween. And then this year, it's just, I think because I was like traveling for, again, the travel, it's just getting in the way of all the holidays. When I got back, I was like, wait, it's already Halloween. And we were just so lazy with costumes this year. Like we used something from last year. It was not even creative last year.
But you did it. You still celebrated.
We did. We went to like this block party with, it was different. It was fun, but it was like more kid oriented because a lot of my friends have children now, and it was adults and children. It was kind of funny though because they had like this DJ and they were like playing like all like early 90s hip hop because clearly like all the parents are like millennials.
That age.
It's like Florida and like my friend's daughter is just like, why are you guys all like excited about this? Like, what is this?
So good. That's our generation of music. And speaking of Halloween and all the horrors of Halloween, we have Rory Uphold back, and she has just published a book called A Final Girl's Guide to the Horrors of Dating. So appropriate.
The horrors of dating do go on all year round, but yes, of course, they're extra prevalent this time of year. I don't think they've passed because Halloween has passed, but yeah, I mean, this is such a fun conversation because I think a lot of people can relate to, what she calls the monsters, the people that are out there in the dating world that make dating not the most fun at times, like the ghosters and the F-boys, the reemerging exes, like all of the things. What's more important, though, we talk about in this conversation is, yes, that's the environment and we can't control and change other people. That's not to say we're accepting behavior from them, but we're recognizing like we can only do so much. And what we can control is ourselves to heal what may be causing us to go for these types of people and be attracted to them in the first place. And of course, you can't always control like what happens to dating. Like you could have done all the work. And I know this happened for me. It's like I did all this work and then I went out and then I still got ghosted. And that sucks. Like no one's debating that. But it's just kind of the reality of dating. But what the work does is it helps you roll with it better. Instead of looking at it as a reflection of yourself or, spending days on days on days talking about this person with your friend, you're able to just be like, yep, okay, this sucked. It hurt. It was not great, but I'm moving on.
I think really gets at is building that resilience in dating. And while you can't avoid the monsters and the ghosts and the horrors of dating, you know how to bounce back, and you know how to bounce back even stronger. And that's why her entire book is centered around the final girl. The girl that survives these horror movies is the one who is resilient, who is not running into the basement or towards that door you shouldn't be opening. Like, she's understanding and learning from her experiences. So it's a really clever way of looking at how do you bounce back from the things you can't control in dating.
Yeah, so if you're someone that is in it right now and you're like, I'm sick of modern dating culture, we hear you. We hear you loud and clear. I think this conversation, though, will really resonate. Okay, well, before we get into it with Rory, of course, How to Be Dateable is out wherever books are sold. We are going to be doing a fun giveaway on Instagram for Thanksgiving because we are so thankful for all of you that have been part of this dateable community and family for years at this point. We love hearing from you. And for everyone that's, got the audiobook or the hardcover or helped spread the word, we're so grateful. So we want to give away some of our books over the holiday season. So if you're not already following us on Instagram, go there at Dateable Podcast.
And we've been alerted that we are approaching low stock on Amazon. So if you are truly trying to get that book in before the holidays hit, this is the time. Get in now before, there's always like a period before they restock.
And there's always Black Friday sales too. So I feel like it's always that time for me, at least, that I'm like, what is all the stuff I want? Let me bookmark it now and save it. So then when that day hits, I can just come in strong.
Smart.
Cool. Well, howtobedateable.com. Make sure to go there. You can find all the places to get the book. And yeah, we also have something exciting that will be coming post-Thanksgiving that we will reveal then. Keep it cryptic.
Very.
Awesome. Okay, well, before we get into it with Rory, let's hear a message from our sponsors.
As the air turns crisp and the holidays draw near, comfort becomes the best gift of all. And Quince delivers layers that last: sweaters, outerwear, and everyday essentials that feel luxurious, look timeless, and make holiday dressing and gifting effortless. And Quince has it all, from $50 Mongolian cashmere sweaters made for everyday wear, denim that never goes out of style, silk tops and skirts that add polish, and down outerwear built to take on the season, perfect for gifting or upgrading your own wardrobe. Now, I know I live in warm Southern California, but I do love wearing cashmere, and the Quince short sleeve cashmere sweaters are my go-to. They're just the perfect layering piece, and they truly elevate every outfit. Step into the holiday season with layers made to feel good, look polished, and last. From Quince. Perfect for gifting or keeping for yourself. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DATEABLE.
Have you ever rooted for a central couple in a horror movie? Then you are going to love House of Rain by New York Times bestselling TikTok sensation Harley LaRue. Happy endings and horror can mix after all. It's a gothic, sapphic romance meets supernatural suspense, equal parts sinfully spicy and bone-chilly. Salem was supposed to be on her honeymoon. Instead, she's trapped at Belfour Manor with Rain, a woman hiding secrets as dark as the house itself. This book gets 4 out of 5 peppers for bringing the heat. If you're a fan of The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager or Verity by Colleen Hoover, this must-read thriller is for you. The book just sucks you in. I swear, I even caught myself looking behind my shoulder once or twice because Harley LaRue builds this tension that just lingers. You can find House of Rain by Harley LaRue wherever books are sold in print and in ebook. The gorgeous deluxe hardcover first printing is only available for a limited time, so grab yours before they are gone. Okay, let's hear about surviving the horrors of modern dating.
When we ask people to describe dating these days, they no longer say it's like a rom-com. They're like, it's like a horror movie. I think many people would say it's like a horror movie. And that's what our guest today actually wrote a book in honor of that sentiment about dating. It's called A Final Girl's Guide to the Horrors of Dating. Rory, welcome to Dateable. So nice to have you back.
Welcome back to
Yay.
Dateable. Yes, return
Thanks,
guest over
guys.
here.
I know. It feels like coming home.
Well, I feel like on last episode, you were like starting to go into like a lot of these horrors. So I think we could like pick back up because you've had quite the experiences yourself. And then clearly we're able to reflect on it for other people. So I
Yeah.
love this part memoir, part survival manual. I guess if you were to think of like a couple words to sum up your dating experience, what would those be?
Oh,
All of it? Like my whole dating experience?
Just instinct. What comes to mind?
Circuitous, haunted house, like Final Girl. I'm using all the things for my book. I mean, I also think like fun, wild, adventurous, scary, painful, rough, band-aids, love. Yeah.
This is like one of those psychology tests.
Yeah.
Like, hold up a picture. What are the first words that come to mind?
Totally. Yeah, look, I the book highlights a lot of the like crazy, batshit, insane things I've been through because that's the nature of it. And it's also like, I'm trying to earn trust so that nobody wants to be talked down to. Like nobody wants somebody to be like, I'm an expert and I know better. Well, what do you mean? But like, if I can show you what I've been through and what I've learned, then maybe you'll trust me a little bit more. But it's not to say that I haven't had incredible relationships or that I haven't met or been with incredible like men in my life, you know?
Yeah. But you've been through a lot. And just as a reminder for our listeners, the way we met was because I was going through that breakup after infidelity. And my friend was like, you should meet my neighbor. She's been through it all when it comes to infidelity and beyond.
Yes,
That
my
is how we
reputation
met.
precedes.
But your sort of parallel to this Final Girl is such a great take on modern dating. It's such a fresh way of looking at it. But for anybody who doesn't know the characters in a horror movie, tell us, who is the Final Girl?
That's such a great question. So for the purposes of my book, a final girl it's genderless. But in horror movies, the final girl is a girl who lives in the end. Every horror movie has, a monster, but there's also a survivor. It's like the last one standing, the last one to confront the killer, the girl who lives to tell the tale, and that's the final girl. And just a tiny bit of history on it. The term was coined by a woman who noticed that audiences don't align or gravitate or root for scared male leads. So they're more apt to identify with the killer than like a man that is terrified. And that is a reflection of our views on gender norms. And horror movies have always been used kind of like as a metaphor to examine culture from, racism, sexism, classism, whatever you want. And so I think it's very interesting that the final girl trope was created and then perpetuated. And when we look back at the original horror movies, the one thing about final girls is they were virtuous. And when I say virtuous, I mean in line with the virtues that society also upheld. So they were always virgins. They never did drugs. They acted a certain way. And it was something that I find really fascinating. And I get into like in a chapter called Sluts Get Cut is that, now if you look at horror movies, we have a lot of slutty final girls. And that is a reflection of like how culture has updated. And horror movies have adapted to reflect like our sentiment. But a lot of dating advice has not. It's still focused and centered on advice that we might have seen 50 years ago before women had legalized birth control as a single person or financial autonomy. And it still pedestals virginity. So anyway, that's a little background on like what a final girl is. But for the purposes of this, it's somebody that survives the ups and downs, the horrors of not only their life, but specifically their love life.
So what are some key traits of a final girl? Or like you said, this is gender agnostic for purposes of this discussion that would serve them well when dating.
Okay. I think like my top 3, resilience, accountability, and mindset, I think are the absolute 3. I say probably 10 times throughout the book, if you don't believe that you can make it to the end of the movie, you won't. If you do not believe that love is out there for you, it won't. And that's like part woo-woo, but also part neuroscience, which, like there's confirmation bias, your beliefs define your life. If you believe that all the good ones are taken or that love is a horror show for real, like I'm using it in a way as a framework and as a joke. And because I think that the pain that we can feel is so horrific. And the language we use is so horrific. You know, even like till death do us part, or she took my breath away. Like I fell in love. Like these are positive things, but they have this horrific connotation. So I'm playing with it. But I genuinely believe that love is out there. And I believe that you can have the love that you want. I also think if you don't take accountability, you know, every time you blame somebody, it robs you of a lesson. It's really hard. It's not sexy. People don't want to look at it. But at the end of the day, I continue to date some of these people. I continue to put myself in some of these situations. And it took writing this book. Well, it didn't take writing this book. I knew this before the book, but in writing the book, I can go back and I can trace it. And like, there was a lot of internal work that I needed to do. I had a lot of, I call them my inner demons. It's that like those limiting beliefs, that little voice in my head that was like, maybe you're not good enough. And you have to be able to address that, but that is gonna require accountability. You have to take the mirror and shine it back at you, because that's what relationships are. They're a mirror. They show us like where we need to do work on ourselves. And then the last piece is resilience. Like at the end of the day, if you get knocked down and you stay down, that's it. That's it. That's the end. But if you continue to keep going, that's the thing. Every horror movie has this moment in the movie where we know what the monster is. And it's like, well, everybody's fucked. And then there's one girl who just goes, but not me. I'm going to fight back. I'm going to give it everything I've got. And then the movie becomes her movie. And then, she survives in the end. She becomes the final girl. I do believe that is true for all of us in our love lives. Like you have to be the star of your own movie. You have to be the lead of your own franchise. And that is going to require you to keep going and to not give up and to stay positive and to acquire more skills and to heal and to just like not be afraid of the jump scares that are like between you and the love of your life or the loves of your life.
To dissect this a little bit more, because I'm just thinking back to all the horror movies that I was brave enough to watch, which is not that many. But there is always a character in the beginning who you think is the movie is about her. And she dies very quickly because she is almost too confident in her survival. Like I feel like there's always this character that's like, it's not going to hurt me. I'm not going to happen to me. I know that I'm the best out there and nobody's going to kill me. And then she gets killed. So who is that person? Like, how do we not become that person?
That's a great question. Not really in the book. But I think like to me, that girl probably was doing drugs or having sex or something that is like a commentary or a trope that again predates back to like the patriarchy. Or I think to me, it's more about humility and it's more about the accountability. It's like, I think in both hands, you need to be able to, on the one hand, like recognize the pitfalls, the horrors, the red flags, and on the other hand, stay positive. And that does require a certain amount of like humility. It does require a certain amount of introspection and a quiet confidence. That's not like this like in your face, loud confidence. That's true self-love, true self-respect. And that is like built in small steps and quiet moments. That's not putting on a like red lipstick and a high heel and like looking in the mirror and being like, I love myself. That's like meeting a guy who is incredible, but isn't actually up to your standards or isn't totally treating you the way you want to be treated and ending it anyway. That's choosing things that are in line with what you really want, despite the fact that society might be saying, like you should fall in line. Like when you have your own back, you build self-trust, which builds self-confidence. But that's the kind of confidence that like gets you to the end of the proverbial movie, you know?
So we could not agree with you more about the three that you talked about. Like we have people that come to us all the time and just the negativity starts. It's all about like, the other people out there and all the monsters in dating and the terrible people. And yeah, it's of course, like if you don't believe there's someone out there for you or they're good people, then yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. How do you get out of that? Like maybe even your own example of going from all the people are the worst, they're terrible, to like, okay, there are some really shitty people out there. No one's denying that. But how do I use this to like serve me and not just get so focused on the external?
That's such a great question. I mean, I feel like I've been through some very bad things. Like, if you like drama, I guess there's also that. You know, I was in an abusive relationship, not great, not a fun thing to share. That's pretty embarrassing. You know, I was ghosted in the most epic, savage way. I have experienced like assault. And not that this book is like totally heavy. I've also just experienced like the ick and crazy embarrassing things and being shamed in terms of STIs or being gaslit by like my gynecologist. I say all of that to say that it would have been really easy for me to write a book that was like, look at all the fucked up things that have happened to me and not go, okay, but like, what was my role in any of that? And that is not to say that I am to blame or that I deserved it. But it is what helped me go, oh, right. Because like I had a fear that love is conditional. If I wasn't perfect, I wouldn't have the love that I really want. It also let me realize like I have beliefs about like worthiness and that I'm replaceable. And this stems back to, you know, I was 25 thinking I was going to get married and the love of my life ghosted me in a way that was like pretty catastrophic. And in the absence of the truth, we will come up with a story. And I came up with these stories and then they self-perpetuated for a decade in little and big ways. And I can go back and I can look at the quote unquote horrors and realize that at the worst, the thing that was also at the worst was like my inner monologue.
Right.
And words are like spells. Like you have to cast them wisely. The way you talk to yourself will determine the quality of your life. Like I have said this probably on this podcast, but you have to be your own best friend. If you speak to yourself in a way that you wouldn't want somebody speaking to your mother, daughter, best friend, then why do you allow yourself to speak to yourself that way? And that's like step one, because you can't tame what you can't name. So you have to identify like what those patterns are and how you speak to yourself and what those beliefs are. And when you realize what those are, I do go really deep into like how to change your core beliefs, but that's what it requires. It requires you to change your core beliefs.
So I guess like, how did you get there? Because I think therapy, I'm assuming, or was there another path you took? Okay. So how did you get there?
I got ghosted by the guy who got me pregnant.
But like, how did you make that
like
pivotal, like, okay, now I'm turning it to myself?
Well, look, I think there's somebody said this, somebody wiser said like, you know, if it happens once, it's maybe them. If it happens multiple times, it's probably you. Like at a certain point, I was like, what the, like, it has to be me. Like I have to be a part of this. This is like too crazy that like I couldn't be attracting, doing something. And yet it didn't totally resonate. And so, yeah, it like really required me pulling back layers of an onion. And I started small, but I also realized like I could hear myself saying the things like, oh, he's probably going to ghost. Like I felt crazy when I'm like checking some dude's social media who's given me zero reasons to imagine that he is doing anything shady. Like he's only treated me kindly. And yet I'm so paranoid that the other shoe is about to drop at any moment. Like, where did that come from? I got so sick of being like activated and feeling like, you know, at any moment, like this guy was going to reveal himself to be a total monster. And I just kind of got fed up and I was like, there has to be another way. Like, this is just, I just don't want to live like this. So either I'm going to figure it out or I'm going to die alone.
Yeah.
Like it just, and I didn't want to die alone. So then I just decided, well, okay, like I need to like do a lot of investigating. And it was just really a lot of journaling, a lot of going like deep, looking at my patterns. Yeah, I read some books. I read a book called Whole Again that I absolutely adore. But I think also it was, for me, it was just like really intuitive.
So when you mentioned patterns and something else you mentioned earlier too, is like, you're not saying you deserved any of the horrors that have happened to you, the traumas, but we have to look at how we respond to what has happened to us. And part of what's happened to you are these monsters in your horror stories. And in your book, you talk about some common monsters as that you can recognize in dating. Can you go through some of those?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I talk about serial killers. I think that like, for the purposes of the book, serial killers are like serial cheaters. I think they're the serial killers of love because they often have a signature. They often hurt way more than just the intended victim, because hurt people go on to hurt people in the same way that there were a lot of people that hurt me that I could identify have been hurt before. I'm sure that I went on to hurt people. I mean, at best, I was fucking annoying. At worst, I was hurtful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was because like hurt people hurt people. I have a chapter called Zombies about like how I was constantly getting back together with like this flame from high school. And I let brain rot from rom-coms and red string theory really like lead me
Wait, what's
to—
red string theory?
Really? Red string theory is part of Asian folklore, and it's this idea that when two people are fated to be together, they're connected by an invisible red string. So that string can like stretch, it can knot, it can twist, but they will eventually come back to each other because they're fated to be together. And so with Marcus, the zombie in my life, I felt like he was my like red string person for a number of reasons. We had like an incredible connection. Like sometimes I would be driving and I would get hit with this overwhelming sense of knowing. And I would be like, something is wrong. And I would call him and he'd be like, my mom just was diagnosed with brain cancer. That's a real story. Or he would call me and he would be like, are you okay? And I would be like in my car crying. You know what I mean? Like we had this sixth sense about each other for years. Plus like we had this thing where like we would break up and we would get back together. And it felt like, oh, this is like that kind of love that can't be diminished. And rom-coms, the one thing that all rom-coms have in common is that somebody does something fucked up.
Yeah.
They break up, they realize they can't live without each other, and then they get back together. Like I was primed, I was groomed for romantic disappointment. And I thought that was just a part of great love.
Yeah.
So I thought this guy was this like great love of my life. I let him come back from the dead like a zombie, you know, so many times. And I realized, oh God, no, I need to, they're exes for a reason. Like you keep certain things in the past, you lay them to rest, and then you move forward. The ick, everybody I feel like knows the ick. Werewolves. Werewolves are cursed creatures. That is really kind of like, you know, hurt people. Vampires, like they drain you of your energy. In that scenario, that's a lot about like narcissistic personalities, like for real, not like my ex talked a lot about himself, he's such a narcissist. No, I mean like you got love bombed and then you went through Darvo and you came out feeling like a shell of yourself. You know, I think energy vampires are like a very real thing, and sometimes family members, sometimes they're friends and you don't know it. And then the flying monkeys that enable them.
Wait, flying monkeys enable the vampires?
Yeah. Flying monkey is like a term that I did not come up with. It does come from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And a flying monkey is someone that enables a narcissist.
But what is it like? What would that be like in a dating scenario?
Well, I can tell you my scenario.
Okay.
I was set up with the person that ended up being the vampire in my life. And now that he's been formally canceled, I know that she knew that he was a bad guy. And she continued to supply him with women.
And she's the flying monkey.
I see.
So she's an enabler. And it's just to, you know, that's like a 2-page chapter, but it's just to let people know, like, you know, whenever there's like a really toxic person, they normally have enablers. And sometimes those people are benevolent, like they don't know that they're being used. And sometimes they're malevolent because they're also on the spectrum, the narcissistic spectrum.
What about demonic clowns? I love that one.
Demonic clowns. So I talk about that in like, after I got out of the zombie chapter, like I felt I was really riding high, because like there is nothing that will give you a greater sense of self than honoring your own boundaries or like standing up for yourself. Like I felt like it was like a huge love letter to myself. And so part of my millennial brain rot is that I was like, cool, I've learned the lesson. Now I'm going to be rewarded with my prince. And that is not how life works. You know, but like I kind of thought, okay, check, great. Now I get like the guy. And instead I got a shit ton of demonic clowns. And I feel like demonic clowns are like fuckboys. They are, it was like when apps were reaching a fever pitch. So in the beginning, it was super fun because dating can be really fun. Like you can learn about so many other worlds. Like that's the cool thing about dating is like you get to learn about new music, new restaurants, new parts of the city. Like it's like traveling, but it's like traveling through people. And so in the beginning, it was really thrilling. Like I was like meeting a ton of people And then over time, I started to realize like all of the disrespect, all of the ghosting, all of the rejection, these like little micro hurts.
Mm-hmm.
After a year of that, I was like, oh, I feel really beaten down. And when I look back at them, I'm like, these are clowns. These are demonic clowns. They're going into a relationship being like, you're my dream girl, or like, this is going to be something serious. I could just feel it. Yet they knew they just want to fuck, you know? And I think like flipping it back on me, can't put a crown on a clown and expect a king. Otherwise, you're the joke.
Right.
And that's what I was doing.
I mean, I know we talked about earlier that the final girl, like in your book, it could be used interchangeably across all sexes and genders. How do you think this shows up differently, like from the like the monsters that you see, or just dating from your perspective with men versus women?
I think it's unfair to think that men aren't getting treated poorly. I think that is, well, we know that women and men cheat at the same rate. So cheating is not a male thing. It's a people thing. So if that's the case, then I think it also, I can rationalize that ghosting is probably like the same, that there's these tropes and these behaviors that are probably split pretty evenly. I think, you know, obviously things get different when we're talking about norms. I think that a lot of, like, one of my missions with this book is to try to get women to stop being chosen and learn how to choose. That just the mindset of trying to be chosen will put you in a scarcity mindset where you're more apt to settle or tolerate things. I think that men aren't raised in that way, right? So they're coming at it from a different angle, and there's going to be things that actually just don't apply to them. Because when I'm like writhing on the floor getting HPV cryoed off my cervix, and my doctor's like, oh, most people are fine with this or whatever. And then I feel like the fucked up patient. I feel like I can't say no, or I'm trying to just like make myself smaller or more palatable. I don't know that a man would do that.
Yeah, I agree on that. I feel like we've definitely talked to our share of male listeners, though, that the chosen thing is universal. I think there's definitely
That's really
a little more
interesting.
than you would think would be happening, especially if
Great.
you haven't
Well,
like
not great.
had. You're like, awesome, everyone feels it. I think it's like in today's like dating world where it feels like everyone's disposable and people are on to the next. I think maybe like years ago, maybe it wasn't as prevalent, but it seems like, especially if you haven't had the type of relationship history that you thought was like, or think is like appropriate by a certain age.
Normal.
Yes, normal.
Yes. I guess also like part of, I think, the horror, right? That like all of us grew up thinking the goal is marriage. Like we have this idea of what success is in relationships. And it's like, who created that? And why did they create that? And also, if you fall short of that, you feel like you're a failure or that there's something wrong with you. And so I guess it does make a ton of sense that men would also feel that way. And then that is where those inner demons come in. That is where those insecurities grow. And I think, you know, men don't have the same outlets typically that women do. So whereas I can call 10 girlfriends and be like, I feel rejected or I feel sad or whatever, you know, you might have a male listener who's like, I would never call my best friend to be like, you know, but then they have to carry that shame alone. They don't have the person, they don't have the cheerleaders, they don't have the supporting cast, the characters that are like, Brian, you're the shit. What are you talking about? You're the full package. Or like, no. This is just your mind playing tricks on you. These are just your insecurities. Like, you know, keep going. You're a catch. Like they don't have that. I have that. You guys have that. A lot of women do have that. Not all, but a lot do. And yet it's still fucking hard for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the thing is these insecurities are buried so deep in our psyche. It really does take like, you know, an exorcism.
End of the day, I feel like the monsters are our inner demons. Like, yes, there are external monsters, but I think for men and women, we battle inner demons on a day-to-day basis with dating.
Oh no, you just revealed the real secret of the book.
Here's a question though. Do you think the goal is to know how to become the final girl and survive whatever life throws at you? Or is it to be the person who can identify the monsters so they don't get in the line of fire. Like they don't even put themselves in the position to interact with these monsters.
I think it's both, because not all monsters are the same. Death is a monster. You can't prevent that. You can't prevent a fluke accident. You can't prevent like sexual assault. It's not fair to say to a victim, like, well, if you had been more prepared, that you could have avoided that. I think that there are some monsters and some horrors that are, I talk about being groomed by an adult that I trusted from the time that I was a child onward. I could not have prevented that.
Right.
But I do have the tools now to know how to handle that, how to help other people, etc. Then there are other monsters like, the ick, poison, viruses, things like that are preventable, that are 100%. Yes. I think that if you know what love bombing looks like, you will know how to avoid it. There is no world in which a man will ever love bomb me again. It just isn't going to happen. So it is both. But God forbid I let my guard down. God forbid I stumble. I know for a fact that not only will I get back up, but I will get back up better, and that I am only ascending. So I think it's both.
So the example with love bombing, and you probably have others as well, how do you start to spot some of these red flags? Like, what are some things that people should look out for? Like you said, I'll never do this again. Like if you saw someone coming at you in a certain way, what would be those things that you're like, nope, I'm good? Look,
I think it's amazing to meet somebody who knows that they like you, but I wouldn't meet a friend and give them the keys to my house in a week. So why do we do that with our heart? We weirdly make exceptions when it comes to romantic things. And the reality is nobody knows you in a date. Nobody knows you in a week. Nobody knows you in a month. You are trying to rush something. You have to ask yourself, why? Yeah, it feels good. Yes, we want love. Yes, this could be the love of your life. But if this is going to be for forever, then what is the rush? I think that there's the red flags are the intensity, the speed. If they're trying to dominate your phone with all of these messages, if they give you homework assignments. And what I mean by that is listen to this podcast, listen to this album, read this book, so that they're constantly top of mind and constantly top of text. Those are actual warning signs. That is not confident behavior.
How do you decipher though between someone that's just into you? Let's say someone's just genuine. How do you not, I guess the larger question with this is beyond just love bombing, but how do we not assume everyone's going to be a monster?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mean, specifically to the love bombing, if you step back and give it space, does it feel like it's going to die? Because that's the red flag. If you meet someone and they're really into you, but you say, hey, I have a crazy week coming up, whatever. I'm going to have to or I have to go offline or whatever it is. And they don't respect that, then that's the red flag. People who can like you and be so enamored and into you should also have another life. They shouldn't be canceling their gym schedule or their plans or their whatever, rearranging their life just because they've met you is a sign that their life actually is not that great, that they, don't value the relationships and the things that they've established. That to me is a red flag. But in terms of how do you not believe that everyone is a monster? I would say instead of thinking about it that way, I would say focus on self-trust, that you can identify red flags and go pick a different hallway. And two, that regardless of what happens, you're going to be okay. I think when you walk into a party, do you imagine that everybody hates you? I mean, if you do, then that is work that you need to do. But I don't walk into rooms assuming that people aren't going to like me. I walk into rooms assuming that people are going to like me. And I think the same thing goes with dating. Yeah, dating's hard, or it can be hard, but it can also be really fun. And the question I would leave people with is, what if this time is different? So instead of going, what if this is a monster? Go, well, what if this time is different?
Yeah.
What if this is the last time I'm ever going to be single? How do I want to spend it? Do I want to spend it being miserable? Do I want to spend it being paranoid? Is this how I want to spend my last month, day, year being single? Or do I want to live it the hell up so that one day when I'm talking to my kids, if that's what I want, I can be like, ugh, before I met your mom person, I had a blast.
Mm-hmm. And I want to double down on having a blast, because I think it goes back to Julie's question as well. It's like the beginning of a movie. you don't know if it's a horror or a rom-com because it could take place in the same environment. Everybody's like at a party having a good time.
And then one person drops dead.
And then one person opens the wrong door and you're like, oh shit, this is where it's going.
Oh no, it's a horror movie. We're in a horror movie.
So ultimately, it's like, how do we still have fun in dating? How do we balance staying vigilant and also just keeping an open mind and this like kind of a free spirit when it comes to dating?
Do you wake up every morning and think you're going to be fired? Do you wake up every morning and think I'm going to get hit by a car when I cross the street? That's a hard way to live. But I'm just saying this is what we're talking about. This is mindset. Like ultimately you got to have to choose. Like, are you going to walk into every personal situation with a negative perspective? Those are your beliefs. That's fear. And what you don't change, you choose. So if you don't change your mindset, if you can't actually be excited about dating, you probably shouldn't be dating. You should stop, heal yourself, and then when you're excited about it, get back out there. Because I like to say, like, don't shop hungry. And the analogy is that, self-love is so important, not because you have to be perfect in order to have love. That's not it at all. It's just that when you feel really authentically confident, when you love yourself, when you're unwilling to settle, when you love your life, you love your routine, everything feels great and fulfilled, you are so much less likely to settle for someone's dusty son. You are so much less likely to be breadcrumbed, to put up with bad behavior. This idea of scarcity mindset, who is she? I don't know her. You know what I mean? Like none of those things are going to be a factor for you. And the same thing, like when you love your life, it doesn't matter if that date doesn't work out.
Right.
There's nothing on the line. All you're doing is like, can I find some common ground with this person? Can I learn something from them? Can I laugh? Can I enjoy my evening? It's not this life or death stakes on a first, second, third, fourth date.
I want to dive into this even more, but before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our partners.
What's the one thing about your health you wish someone had told you years ago? Well, for me, it's how important the gut is. Truly, the gut is the foundation of overall health and vitality. It's not just about digestion. The gut affects everything from your energy levels and mood to weight management and even longevity. And while most gut supplements contain probiotics or probiotics and prebiotics at best, Bioma contains all 3 essential ingredients your gut needs. Visit gobioma.com/dateable today. That includes prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. Each ingredient is science-backed and third-party tested. Just take 2 capsules before breakfast and take the guesswork out of feeling your best. Visit gobioma.com/dateable today for an extra 15% off your order. That's gobioma.com/dateable and get an extra 15% off.
I really like that you parallel to like just waking up in the morning and thinking all these bad things are going to happen, because I would go on a gander that most of listeners out there and daters today probably don't have those thoughts, yet for whatever reason, dating is so dire and different. I guess maybe a 2-parter. One is like, in your opinion, why do you think this difference happens? And then I guess a personal question of like, have you ever been in the place that you were there and you were like, okay, let me take a break and reset and get out of this?
Yes. If I wasn't in that place, I don't think I would ever be able to write this book, but I'll come back to that.
Okay.
In terms of why do I think that this is like something that is so unique to dating and romance? Because we're all expected to find it, but we're not taught how to get it. Yeah. And if we don't have it, we're othered. The thing is that like singledom has this stank on it. It's like almost taboo. And I don't feel like that is fair. And I can, trace back the political and social roots to why singledom was a threat to societies, but it doesn't even matter. The point is that we are expected as humans to find people that love us, that we love, and be in these perfect relationships, but we are not given any of the skills. And then when it doesn't work out, we're expected to just get over it.
Yeah.
Just get over it and meet someone else. And I think that a lot of people feel collectively gaslit by that because the pain is real. We call it heartbreak for a reason. And we know they've done studies out of the University of Michigan where they take people that have experienced physical pain, whether they're burning them or whatever, and do scans of their brain. And the same parts of the brain that light up with physical pain light up with emotional heartbreak pain. So we know that like the stakes in relationships are very real. And yet as a society, we've like diminished that. So I think that there's this like mind fuck that happens. And then I also think it plays right into all of our deepest fears and insecurities about ourselves that we've all had and collected for our entire lifetimes.
Yeah.
It feels like when we get rejected, somebody has like looked in and gone, oh, she is unlovable. I see that. And you're like, oh my God, they figured me out. When it really has like nothing to do with you.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like this idea of the final girl dating realizes that other people's behaviors are not a reflection of their own self-worth, right? But that takes a long time. And like to answer your question in terms of me, the only reason I was able to write like a chapter like Spells or a chapter like Maybe I'm a Monster Too is that I have been at the absolute depths of negativity where my mental health was rock bottom, where I walked into dating situations like dukes up, like hands over my face, like expecting to just trying to protect myself. And that was not the best version of myself. And again, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, last time we talked, you obviously had done a lot of self-growth and all that then too, but I can even notice a shift from last time of just like the way that you're like processing things and putting less
100%.
like on others. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing is that like the lessons never stop. And, maybe I'm in a relationship, maybe I'm not. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
Bury the lead here. What's happening?
Well, but the point is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And that the horrors just change because like what we're really talking about is like resilience, accountability, mindset. That is going to be the same whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you have kids. All of that stuff applies. Life is hard. Relationships are tricky and they can feel extremely painful. So like, I think that's the gag. Like you think, oh, I've just got to exit the singledom scene. And it's like, but then you have to deal with the relationship.
Right. It never ends. It's just different.
It never ends. It's just different.
With the negativity spiral, which I hate to say it, know so many people in that right now. The issue is they don't know they're in it. So what is one way you can help anybody who's like, no, I'm not negative.
And then when you tell them, they also don't think so.
They're like, I don't identify with that. But when you were in it, you didn't think you were. So what is like a question you would ask anybody who may be in it that could snap them out of it?
Okay, so this is unfair because this is like the thing that I'm very good at and the thing that you guys are very good at. And not everybody is very good at it, right? Like not everybody can like coach their friends, and not everybody should. And I would say two things. One, not everyone is ready for advice.
It's true.
Like, and you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So don't go to war fighting for your friend if they're not going to go to war for themselves. I don't know. That's a weird analogy that I just came up with, but like,
you have to be ready.
Pick your battles and make sure that they're ready because like sometimes friends just need you to listen. And so like, that's how I will start. Do you need me to hold space for you? Do you want me to listen? Do you want a champion or do you want advice? And if you want advice, do you want that soft kind of advice or do you want real tough love? I will straight up ask that. And then they will go,
Yeah.
And then generally speaking, and I got this from Meredith Goldstein from Love Letters, who's been an advice columnist for, like 15 years. She has said that most people know the answers. You just have to let them talk long enough till they say it. And then you repeat it back to them.
I'm not surprised by that answer. That's amazing.
Right?
Oh my God.
Right.
What if you don't want to listen?
So I would just say like, look, I mean, can you give me an example of like a friend that's in the negative spiral and what they're saying?
Yeah. I believe that men just really suck. Like they've been raised by wolves that I'm sorry, you should be carrying my purse. I'm sorry, when you're sick, you should be ordering food for me too, because I'm also suffering because you're sick. Like I just don't understand why men treat women the way they do. And that's why I'm not going to give up my pussy for them because they're just so not worth it.
Wow,
Love it.
I wasn't
Thank
even
you.
thinking of an example quite that strong.
No,
This is very recent,
that's-
recent example.
I feel like I see that every single day on TikTok. So I think that that's great.
Right,
Okay,
right,
so
exactly. Yes, she's like
this
a
is
walking
where
TikTok video.
this is where I might start. I might be like, "Ooh, do you have a man in your life that you like?" And if she says no, I go, "Okay, great." So, but if you do, I go, "Okay, so what do you think about why him?" Oh, because he got the last flight out of Nam, because he was raised in a different generation. I go, "So, well, if one exists, do you think that that might be the like proof that there could be others that exist?" So that might be a tactic of like, because it's this idea of painting everyone with the same brush. Look, it is insane to think that men's behavior hasn't gotten a little bit worse, and we could see it online, right? However, we know that if that's what you're walking into, that's what the universe will show you, confirmation bias. If you believe all men suck, your brain is going to get to work to show you that you are correct, because that's its number one job. It will give you examples and it will filter out all of the examples that would prove you wrong and highlight the ones that will prove you right. So then you're going to think, oh my God, see, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Instead, what I would say is, do you hear yourself right now? Would you want to date you?
Yeah.
No, just genuinely speaking, I think it's going to be hard to date men if you hate men.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, I don't know that I would want to date you with this kind of attitude. And if she can't hear that, then I might say, tell me about your dream man. Instead of what you don't like, tell me what you do want. Let's focus on that. Let's think about that. When you imagine him, how do you feel when you're with him? Not what is he, not he picks up my purse. Okay, well, you could just ask somebody to do that. You know what I mean? This is not rocket science, but how do you feel when you're with your dream man? Go to that place. Help start to rewire your brain and get some excitement and whatever.
What about an example that's more about just a negativity spiral with your own self-worth? There's no one good out there that would like
I know
me.
it well.
Why am I still single? What's wrong with me? Why is everyone else in relationships and it can't happen for me? Those types of conversations.
Well, I think you have to separate fears from facts.
Yeah.
So why do we feel like it's never going to happen for you? Oh, because it's never happened in the past. Okay. So is that evidence that it will never happen? No. I think it's all about pulling back the layers of the onion and zeroing in on those specific thoughts, which I do go very deep into how to do that. And it's hard it's hard to give general advice on something that is so specific to an individual. But if we go everybody is in a relationship except me, I'm the only one, I would say, well, why do you feel like you're unlovable? And where did that story originate from? When was the first time you felt unlovable? When was the first time you felt rejected? Go back. It's probably high school, maybe it's middle school, maybe it's with your family. What was that situation? Because you have to understand where the story came from.
Right.
And then you have to understand how it made you feel. And then you have to understand what belief anchored in your system, because that's the belief we have to change. So for me, I felt like I was replaceable. I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I felt like love was conditional. I didn't rationally ever think that love was conditional, because that's not the household I grew up in. But in the absence of the truth for some of my heartbreaks and things that the world kind of told me, I had this belief that if I wasn't, a size 2 and really smart and funny and had these degrees and all of this stuff, that I wouldn't get the kind of guy that I wanted, and that also I would be irreplaceable. And I can trace all of these examples where it seemed like the world was showing me that that was true. And so I was constantly working to try and be better. But what I needed to do is go back and figure out where those ideas came from and what the core belief was tied to, because then you can very slightly every day change that belief. And what I had to do was go, I have this fear that love is conditional. And instead of saying love is not conditional and it's out there for me, because that's not realistic to go from one extreme to the other, I had to just say, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? And then when I felt like that was true and authentic to me, I could take it up a notch. What if love isn't conditional?
Mm.
And I've just convinced myself that it is. Okay. When I felt really comfortable with that, and this is like repeating this daily. This is like really fighting with myself. This is journaling. This is like, it doesn't happen overnight, but I promise you it actually does work. Eventually you get to the place where it's love isn't conditional. I'm perfect as I am. And I'm very excited because it's out there for me. And when you believe that, holy shit, dude, the world will open up and you will be magnetic as fuck. Like I have watched it in my own life. I have watched it in other people's lives. Like you will have the glow that people talk about. You will be attractive in a way that people can't define. And it's like, yeah, the call is coming from inside the house. Yes. But it does take this like recalibration. And that's why I said like everybody's thoughts and fears and limiting beliefs are different. So how you kind of twist it just like 1 degree is gonna be different. I give some examples, but it is this thing like I wish I could like talk to every single person and be like, let's do you, let's do you, let's do you.
I know.
But that's the thing, right? And like you guys know this. I mean, a lot of the things that you're asking me, I know you know, but it's that. It's like shifting these core fears and these core limiting beliefs to undo them and then to repattern new thoughts.
Right. But love is conditional though. Isn't it?
No.
Love is conditional.
No. Wait, what? Do you really believe that?
I absolutely believe that. There's no way love is unconditional unless if it's with my parents, like with my family.
Even that, there could be some condition. Like, I agree.
There could be
like,
some condition.
Ivy, I think what you're trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is like if you cheat on someone, people aren't going to like stick around necessarily and be like, but I love them.
Right. And or if I don't uphold my values, then someone could choose not to love me. But I do think love for yourself is unconditional. And that's what I had a hard time believing for a while. It's like I can only love myself when I am X, Y, and Z. But that shouldn't be the case.
Correct. Okay. So I think, wow, it's a really interesting point that you brought up. Yeah, I think that like love is conditional in that it exists within a framework that two people like agree to uphold. And when people stop doing that can fail. However, it is really weird because when I think of like the people who have done the worst things to me, I can still go back and feel that love that I had for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I currently love them.
That's
I just
true.
mean that like the love doesn't die. Like I can still access it. And I think of love as being this thing that is infinite and it grows. And it is something that as it grows, it just gives me the ability to love more people in my life and stronger and shine brighter. But I fully agree, and I'm in 100% alignment with what you were saying. I think that in the example I was giving, and when people are thinking about dating, I think that they think that like, you know, if I don't make a certain amount of money, I'm not going to be able to get the love that I want. Yes, that's the kind of if then conditional thinking.
So in every horror movie, the final girl has that montage at the end where they not only survive, but they thrive. How do you start like romanticizing your own life, even if you haven't met that partner yet?
This is my favorite question. I have not been asked this. You know, life is not promised. Do you want to spend your life miserable that you're single or that you're divorced or that you're in an unhappy mid relationship that you're settling for? Because at the end of the day, the clock is ticking. Like we are all actively dying. And I don't say that to be like glib or whatever. It's just when you look back at your life, how do you want to spend it? Also, if you want partnership, it's coming for you. So do you want to have to tell your kids, your friends, whomever, that you spent your last single days as an individual being fucking miserable and crabby and crying and shitty? Or do you want to go have adventures and live the kind of life that is worth sharing? Not just with other people, but like stories, like friends. I think like if you're in a relationship that is unfulfilling, get out of it. you still have time to rewrite another ending. You are in control. You are the main character. You had a 1 in 5 trillion possibility of being born. So you're a statistical main character. Start acting like it. Like, this is absolutely insane. Like, you have to romanticize your life. Nobody else is going to do it for you. And also, like, what is your dream life? Start living it. The person will come. Why are we handing over agency to these invisible, like, relationships? You're giving power to things and people and ideas and taboos that shouldn't have power over you.
I love that. I mean, this whole conversation has been so phenomenal. I think one of the things, the biggest takeaway I guess I have is we're always looking for like that shortcut of like, where do I go to meet someone, or what events do I do? Like, what app should I be on? Like, all of that. And we're not saying like you shouldn't be like putting yourself out there, but I would argue, and this is something that you and I talk about often, and Rory, you're in agreement, is like the inner work really moves the needle so much more, but it's not like the sexy part of dating that people want to talk about. And people want that quick fix, and it's not always a quick fix. But you said it.
It's never a quick
fix. But you said it, Rory, like if you look at like yourself and other people in your life, like that is what changed for them. And like, I know for you and I, that was what changed for us. All the people we've seen go from being single to being in happy, healthy partnerships. That's what they did to get there. So I feel like we need to just like hone that in again, that this is so important to not dismiss this step because it's not like filling your funnel and getting people in the pipeline and stuff that you think about more in traditional dating.
Yeah. Look, if what is working for you is working for you, then Godspeed. Yeah. But you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Like, so obviously there's a part of you that recognizes that you want to do something different. And I think that is really fucking brave. And congratulations. That's like awesome in the first step. So lean in.
Yeah.
Like, again, what if you just tried this?
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my second takeaway. I think we've talked about this before too, of like, how do you change your limiting beliefs into limitless beliefs? And the question to really start with is maybe overnight, it's not going to all of a sudden be like, I believe I'm the best. I believe I'll find love. But I love what you were saying of like, let's just ask the what if and like baby steps to get there, because then over time, your thoughts end up changing. That's how you start to make those little shifts. And eventually you're like, yeah, I am the shit. And someone is lucky to be with me. But it's okay if that's not like what's immediately coming. Like, give yourself grace. And that's like normal. That's to be expected. It's not going to go 180 overnight.
1000%. And you know what happens when you genuinely believe that you are the shit and people are lucky to be with you? You walk into that coffee shop with your shoulders back. You make eye contact with people. You're not afraid when some guy is like looking at you. You'll smile. You'll walk into a party. You'll meet strangers, because what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're married. They're not interested. Doesn't matter. You're on to the next. You're on to the next thing, the next person, the next story, the next whatever. Like, it is just, I've been on more dates than probably anyone I know. I really have. Like, it's just, we could go head to head. Part of the reason why I did this with the horrors is to show you, like, I've done it all. I've experienced it all. And the thing that really did change my life was me. It's when I looked under the hood, faced the scariest monster of all, me.
Yes.
My inner thoughts, my inner demons, worked on those. And then my life did a full 180. And the happy ending that I have is not what the book is about, because my happy ending has nothing to do with your happy ending. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you believe that love is out there for you, you will find it.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe so many people are the most magnetic when they're in a happy relationship. Like, we've all experienced it, right? The minute you're in a happy relationship, people are talking to you, you're getting hit on, there's attention, because there's that feeling like, I don't give a fuck. I have nothing to lose and I'm here to just be myself. But we can have that feeling of being the final girl in the same realm. This is my life. This is my movie. And I often ask the question of, where's the camera pointing right now? Like, there are moments in my life I go, where's the camera pointing? Is it on me? Or is it on this fucker that I don't really like, that's wasting my time, right? The camera's there. No, I got to turn the camera back because I am the main character. But even in this, I think this one step further is you have a choice Do I want to be the supporting character or do I want to be the final girl? I'm here until the very end, and the audience is rooting for me and feeling that energy. Well, right? Well, just I feel it in my body right now of just being like, yeah, I'm making this choice to be the final girl.
1000%. And to piggyback on something you said, I think that when you're in a happy relationship and everybody kind of hits on you and you're like, I have nothing to lose. I also think there's this part of people, maybe not everybody, but like for me, where it's like, I've been chosen, I've been claimed. And I'm saying, yeah, but you can be the one that chooses you.
Yeah.
You can be the one that claims you. And it feels just the same. And like, that's the fucking gag, is that you can walk into every party truly being single, but like glowing as if you are in the best relationship of your life because you are with yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Wonderful, Rory's. Where can people find your book or find out more about your book?
I think at this point you can get it anywhere books are sold online. If you go to thehorrorsofdating.com, when you check out, if you use Dateable15, you can get 15% off.
Awesome.
That's just for your listeners.
Thank you.
Special code. Yay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks again for coming on our show for the second time.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. Thank you guys.
We know we've been kind of on the sidelines for the writing process of this book, so we're so proud of you. And
guys, I would get like the craziest text from me. I'd be like, yo, this really sucks. This shit is very hard.
It is hard, but the world needs it. So we're so glad that your book has been birthed into the world for people to read.
Thanks. Your book will be sitting right next to mine on the bookshelf.
Love it.
All right. Thank you all for listening. And we're going to wrap up this episode.
Stay dateable.